Hey guys, wanted to make a quick video about finding people that believe in you and starting the self-fulfilling process, the self-feeding, the self-amplifying positive feedback loop of confidence, rather belief, which precedes confidence. So, the mechanism of belief and confidence, there's actually a science to it. And I think for me and the things that I have learned, what I've discovered is when you want to have confidence, you have to believe first. Because to have confidence, you have to have a track record. Confidence isn't something you produce out of thin air. It's something that is hardened by pouring layers upon layers of actions and habits, rituals, results. And when you have enough of that, confidence is the natural byproduct. So if you built a $100 million company, you will have confidence in that domain, whatever it is. Say you built a $100 million plumbing company. You will have the confidence because you've done it before. But in order to do that, you have to have a ritual track record of doing things for so long. Disciplines, right? I mean, keeping your promises. But before that even happens, you have to believe. You have to believe that you are somebody who can do things for a prolonged period of time, and also believe that these actions will lead to something greater. And honestly, the second part is quite easy, just kind of going on tangent, but the second part's just a mathematical equation. If you do 100 push-ups a day for 365 days, chances are you're going to be pretty strong. So that's really not a thing. I think most people, they do believe that their actions will amount to something. I think they have actually trouble believing that they are somebody who can keep those actions going for a long time. So it's actually pretty interesting. Most people don't believe in themselves, but they do believe in the process. If I tell somebody if they're going to do something for so long, it's just 2 + 2 is usually equal to 4. Usually, it's always equal to 4. And most people understand that, but what they don't believe is that they are somebody who can put 2 and 2 together, right? They're like, I don't believe in myself enough. So that's what this is all about. It's about, how do you believe in yourself? Well, I think that a huge part of it is, this is interesting. So, I think that the natural tendency of most people is to be a little self-critical, a lot self-critical, really. And I do believe that belief, self-belief, and belief in and of itself is something that is a taught behavior. I think you can teach people to believe. I think you can influence people to believe and encourage people to believe and teach them how to believe. And once that seed of belief is planted in a person, it either is magnified by the people around them, the actions around them, or it is dulled, it is covered, it is stifled, it is snuffed out like a fire that is starting by the people around that person. So getting people around you that believe in you, that believe in your cause, is a superpower or a hack that I think most people just don't focus on. It's such a big deal to have people that believe in you, believe in your skill set, believe in your potential, believe in your ambitions, believe in your team, believe in your vision. And I think the sad part is that at the beginning, most people, and even right now, I think 90% of people are surrounded by not just people that don't believe, it's people that are actively tearing you down, right? Tearing you down, passive aggressively making comments, being resentful, doing things that really just antagonize who you are, and that further amplifies that negative voice that you have in your head. That's the problem. Is you don't want people around you to amplify that negative voice, right? And then you do things, you fight them, and then you feel guilty, and then you beat yourself up, and it's just a vicious cycle in the wrong direction, right? So what we want to do is we want to flip that cycle upside down, and we actually want to have a vicious cycle that lifts you up. So what that looks like is you start believing, either because somebody implanted in you or just because of maybe you watch stuff like this, which is what I did in the beginning. I watched a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of videos online, and this belief started coming to me that I too could do something useful. I could do something greater than what I was taught around the people that I grew up, who, you know, had a very mediocre goal setting strategy. So then you start believing, and then the first thing you do is you start getting rid of all the people that are naysayers, right? You're just gonna have to make that sacrifice that you can't have both. You can't have the people that tear you down and still have your belief. I mean, that is a direct contradiction, and people live a lot of contradiction. That's a topic for another day. But you got to get rid of contradictions in your life, and that's one of the biggest contradictions, is you can't have people that tear you down and still believe in yourself. You got to pick one, and once you start picking the one side, of course, you're going to start having to be okay with being alone. Most very successful humans I've met have had a period or a very prolonged or even a permanent existence of being alone, because when you think greater than the people around you, there's a alienating factor to that. But don't worry, because that's a period you have to go through. Like Friedrich Nietzsche said, in order to become the lion, you have to go through the desert and be a camel. When you're in the desert, it's hard, it's hot, there's no food, and you're gonna have to survive. And that's part of the journey, and that'll make you hard. So when you become a lion, you have known, you're not just a lion because you can roar, you're a lion because you have understood what it takes to survive on your own. You actually have a track record of believing in yourself through the desert when nobody else was there, which makes you a very useful lion later on, right? So now you have mastered the art of being alone and being okay with your beliefs and not around the people that tear you down. Well, what will happen eventually is people that also have little seedlings of belief in them, you will start to water those seeds, and what will happen is those seeds will sprout inside those people. Their belief will grow, and their belief will always be tied to you in a little way, because you're feeding their belief. You're feeding their belief through your belief. And what it does now is that you actually want to perform to obviously feed your belief, but also so you can keep feeding their belief. And as you perform, obviously your belief grows, and you're able to give more results, and you're able to have more discipline and more things that come out of it. And what that does, it increases their belief in you, which further makes you want to do even more. And it becomes this vicious cycle of belief that is now taking you into a greater realm of belief in yourself and your team, the people that are orbiting around you, and you now become a center for so many people to believe in themselves and their vision, and also your vision, because they are now inspired by what you're doing, because they've seen something that they can do as well. I love this quote. I don't know who said it, but it was, when we see greatness in others, what we're actually seeing is our own greatness personified. What we're seeing is what's already inside of us, but it's in the flesh. That's why we can recognize that greatness, right? There's greatness all over. But when we specifically spot greatness in a human being that inspires us, that gives us goosebumps, brings tears to our eyes, what we're seeing is our own greatness that's inside of us, inside of a human. We're able to recognize our own greatness is personified. We recognize that person as ourselves. That could be me. I could do that. I am you, you are me. Together we rise. And when I met one of my greatest mentors, I saw this man in 2018. He was speaking to a crowd, and I was so inspired by the way he was speaking. It was clear, it was truthful, it was confident, it was full of self-belief that also seemed to just lift the room up. It was a room full of 200 people. And I was like, man, what if I could do that? What if I could be somebody that walked into a room, and when I left, after I was done speaking, the whole room would be elevated in self-belief and the goodness of themselves. And that, to me, has been one of the core foundational aspects of building what we're building is to feed each other's belief so that all of us can rise at the end. And it's very intentional, ladies and gentlemen. It is very, very intentional. This is not an accident. We purposely put people around us that feed cyclone of belief. And we purposely, very quickly get rid of people that snuff out that belief. There's a lot of naysayers in this world. You need to protect yourself. You need to protect those you love, because that will destroy your life. I hope that's helpful, and I want you to feed your cycle of belief. Take care.